Vin Diesel. We'll just kick this off. This is
Go ahead. Well, no, we're live now. We're already going.
John, Buff, John, Dan, really. This is the Lost Loser podcast
For the
host.
Lost Losers podcast. Host of the Lost Losers podcast. This is the L.L.P. joint hour with Dan. Dan's coming on because he has, things he has to say.
A special announcement maybe towards the end of the show. And the end of the show could be in like 20 minutes. It could be in 45.
We never know.
And for the record, but we do have a timer because in about an hour and 45, I have to deliver some barbecue. And we know how important that is to the St. Louis people of the city and the county, anywhere across the world. Barbecue has to be fresh. And what is not fresh at the moment is Mr. Vin Diesel. And I'll say this as a guy who has loved the guy since he burst onto Hollywood and playing Private Carpanzo in Caparzo, kind of
Saving Private Ryan.
Caparzo. I'm gonna go with Private Caparzo.
I forget what it was
because Carpanzo kind of sounds like I'm trying to give him a coupon.
Wasn't he in something else before that?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he had these bit roles. So Vin Diesel made kind of a short film at Sundance called Strays, and it caught the attention of a guy named Steven Spielberg, who is getting ready to make a movie called The Fabelmans later this year about his life. And back when he made a film called Saving Private Ryan, he cast a very not so young. He kind of came onto the scene in his 30s, Vin Diesel, as Private Caparzo. And we all know his fate. He tries to save the little girl in the village, and he takes a bullet from a sniper before Barry Pepper, his knockaround guy's buddy, takes out that sniper just because, hey, man, you don't take him down. But the thing with Vin Diesel is that he kind of let success go to his head. Fast and Furious in 2000, 2001 really put him on the map.
Yeah. He's slowly becoming a billionaire because of that. He owns part of the franchise, right?
Yeah.
Am I using the right Twitter handle?
Yeah. Just use both just because right now I've kind of divided the content up. But, go with that one. Go with Buff 82 because I can always retweet it.
There you go.
There you go. So really with Vin Diesel when he first came on, you had Boiler Room. You had all these little movies where he was just a big part of. And then he made, even in Pitch Black before the sequels came around and they weren't as good.
Yeah, I think Pitch Black was another one that really kind of made that one in 2000.
It did.
To the IMDb's.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. He was kind of a new player. He was fresh. He was in his 30s. He didn't come into Hollywood really as a young man because he was just, he was a former New York bouncer. He was trying to write and direct and develop. And then that Sundance hit landed with Spielberg.
He's like the poor man Stallone story.
He is. He's a guy.
It sounds very familiar to Stallone, but Stallone starred in porn.
Yeah, he did. And Stallone, took a script to an audition that was named Rocky and said, I may not get the part, but here's a story about a boxer. Supposedly was inspired by a boxer named Chuck. But, Diesel, who like Stallone, has a little very, very nice part in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, which also makes Vin Diesel a bajillionaire for saying 3 words over the course of different Groots. There he is. But the problem with Vin Diesel is he's now become known as just, okay, when's the new Fast and the Furious film coming out? Or when is he going to say I am Groot in a Guardians movie? Bloodshot was terrible.
That was so terrible. That was so bad.
The last Fast and the Furious film, I think the 9th one, was awful. All John Cena and Vin Diesel did was like stare stoically at each other until they said, okay, we got to start punching.
Can we believe that was the worst casting for his brother
ever? It was
in the history
of
casting.
He looked nothing like him.
Like in the literally,
he just everything is different. And now you look at this multifacial, a short in 1995, Strays, Triple X, which I almost thought maybe he should have pursued that more than Fast and the Furious. And then you have the great Pitch Black, an independent sci-fi movie that spawned a couple of not so good sequels, even though the last one, Riddick, isn't so bad. But if you look at him now, it's just all he's doing is Fast and Furious or some video games, and then maybe a little. Okay, he's got I guess Triple X4, which I hope is kind of expands that thing. But
let's see,
Vin Diesel's ego went through the roof.
Oh, it's terrible. Now I know why The Rock wanted to punch him in the face. So Awakenings, multifacial, Strays, Saving Private Ryan was his real I forget he did the voice for the Iron Giant.
He did, and he did the voice for that, and then he did.
Then the Chronicle of Rich.
Knockaround Guys was an underrated kind of like Goodfellas tough guys story with Barry Pepper and even Seth Green,
Giovanni Ribisi,
and John Malkovich, and the late Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Who coined the very underrated phrase, he's half an idiot, and that's the good half.
Yeah.
When he was looking at Seth Green's character, which
like A Man Apart was a good movie, but
it was more of a grieving, kind of man on fire like kind of film. But we don't get that from him anymore. No. Look at Find Me Guilty. He worked with Sidney Lumet, the late director, who was just terrific. But everything we have now is Riddick and Fast and the Furious and Guardians. The Last Witch Hunter wasn't good. It was better than Bloodshot, but that's like saying, awful Chinese food is better than cold Chinese food. Of course.
Basically, his next coming films, he has I Am Groot, the TV series that's coming out.
Let's hope he gets to say more than 3 words.
Nope, that's it. And then he has the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. And he has Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then he has Fast X, and then Triple X4, and then.
You're right, though. You are dead on with that Stallone thing, but Stallone's doing it better. Yeah. See, he's going back to his arsenal of characters, but better. You know?
Like his new one that for Prime, that new
Samaritan. I cannot wait for that. I'm so glad he did. Good. I'm so glad he's got the gray beard in it.
And then he started actually go into his. But Stallone's a better actor than Vin Diesel ever.
He's an Oscar nominated. He's an Oscar nominated 3 times. Yeah,
for a writer. And
he's a winner for writing.
Yes.
I don't think Rocky won Best Picture, but I know he went home with an Oscar. But
I think he did win Best Picture.
But he's also just going back, like he's handed off the Rocky story to Ryan Coogler with Creed, and now that's growing into something great. There's a 3rd film coming this year, I think. Yeah,
I think that was and I think Ryan Coogler kind of handed that off to Michael B. Jordan for the 3rd one.
He did. Now Michael B. Jordan's a director now.
Yeah, directing, and he directed it. And
you almost have to give credit, even though he has kind of a half-hated persona in Hollywood. You got to give a lot of credit to a guy like Mel Gibson, who did this star director thing. Kevin Costner with Dances with the Wolves. He did this. No, that's here. I'm just going to say this on here. That's one of those people that want to buy your house and they text you.
Oh,
and you block one and you block and they keep coming back.
Get them all the time.
They're like off Agent Smith in the Matrix. They just keep coming back.
They're the worst.
But so you get a guy like those guys kind of set the parameters for this. I mean, Gibson and Costner. But getting back to Diesel, he's now giving a new spin earlier this year that Dwayne The Rock Johnson needed to be coached on the Fast and the Furious. Yeah, that was the last little thing that came out, I think, when one of them had a movie out. I think it was Red Notice, and he was trying to maybe rain on it because he keeps thinking that they've made up when The Rock and him have not made up. The Rock toasted him on Instagram. I think he kept it up. I hope The Rock kept it up. But he essentially, everybody's known now that Diesel is late to sets. He wants to change the script. He wants to make it. He wants to know how many punches his character takes in a fucking fight.
Like, come on.
I get that though. I mean, I understand, but when you're late to the set and you're a producer, I mean, that's just insulting. So The Rock roasted him, and this was ahead of The Rock's last outing in a team up. He did Hobbs and Shaw, which I love so much because they took away Statham and put The Rock, and those 2 guys had a ball of a time trying to beat up Idris Elba, which takes 2 guys. Idris is great.
Yeah, that's Black Superman.
I'm the Black Superman. He's just so good.
You know what is a really good movie that Idris Elba is in? Yeah. That's a Guy Ritchie movie.
Trust me, I have been coached.
Listen, I'm bad at pronunciation.
Me too.
So I'm just, I'll agree with you. Yes,
I'm the guy that did a radio show and said Ivan Barbashev before it was Barbashev. Okay. I said that and I almost made myself crack up.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Barbashev. I think it's better. It's like a Red Heat Arnold name. Who did it? Barbashev.
It really is. What are you, Ukraine? So, Guy Ritchie movie with Idris Elba is Rock and Roller.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite movies.
Gerard Butler.
That's one of my Tom Hardy. Mark Strong, Tom Hardy.
You're a real rock and roller.
And then the guy who plays
Toby Kibble plays the rock star in that movie. The torture guy that cannot be any skinnier. Like, dude, eat a cheeseburger. Yeah. You watch these people in movies, but looking at this guy on your big, gorgeous screen here, Vin Diesel, if he would get back to what made him,
I know.
Back to Boiler Room.
But he is. He's going to Triple X, and he's going to Fury, or he's going to.
I got a little more
back
hope.
to Planet, or
the third Triple X film wasn't terrible. Just if you're gonna do a movie, why not do an independent film, dude? Go back to F. Gary Gray and say, hey man, you did a Fast and Furious film, you did A Man Apart. Let's do a movie like that again. Give me the same kind of movie, but go back to your roots, man. You were made in Hollywood because of Spielberg saying, hey, I saw your short film. That was good, man.
Yeah.
And so go back to that guy, because right now you're just a pompous ass.
I don't think he wants to do the grind.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you, Mr. Diesel, if not, you can't play this Dominic Toretto forever.
Guess what? He's
going quarter mile at a time in a wheelchair.
When you have $1 billion.
I know.
Guess what?
And that's the new game.
That's who gives a shit.
And imagine this. If Universal doesn't want to do it, you know who will do it? And we'll throw him stupid money. We'll throw him fuck you money.
Netflix.
And we'll just segue into that. Netflix, who throws around a lot of money.
Bad money here recently.
But let's just say very recently, The Gray Man on Netflix. I loved it. I loved it. I think they throw around a lot of money. I mean, Bright with Will Smith was good, but 190 million good? No.
So The Gray Man, I'm going to say this. It was basically Man on Fire meets the Arnold Schwarzenegger wonderful 1985 movie, if I'm Commando.
Yeah, it really was.
Or was it just me?
No, I mean, I had elements of Man on Fire because of the relationship with Julia Butters' character.
Okay, that's that. But when they took him to the bad guy, with Chris Evans kind of played that cheese.
He was in better shape than that guy.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sean.
Yes,
he played it. I keep hitting this table.
Oh, you're fine.
Remember when he used to say Arnold's character, who never changed his. Yes. Let me tell you something, Dexter Morgan. Arnold wore that shit first. He coined. Dude, he had the bulging pecs at Henley.
Okay, so
look at my chest.
Chris Evans reminded me of that asshole from Commando. Yeah. How he took him to the remote.
The mustache,
the
haircut,
the way he was just a prick. And
he's like, "Hey, yes. John, I just love it." Now I'm gonna have that in my home.
Now go back and rewatch that, and you're gonna be like,
"It's a good movie."
Son of a bitch.
It is an 86-minute Red Bull is what Commando is. I want to see Vin Diesel do that.
He needs to do something
that, man. Just turn it loose. Turn off Fast and Furious after these next two films. Hello, my wife will be watching this.
My wife is watching, so hello.
Hey, you know what we need to do? We need to blaze that up. See, now we are at home, everybody. We are blazing the greatest thing alive, which is cannabis. It's not all the other stuff. As George Carlin once said, it's very important to know which drugs are good and which drugs are bad. And what drug is not bad is cannabis. We're in a studio. We're hanging out. Okay. Michael Myers is in the garage, but he's keeping an eye on things because he doesn't talk a lot. Wouldn't he make the greatest security? Could they ever get the rights from whoever makes those movies and go, can we make a comedy where he's just a bodyguard? Who's his name? Michael. Doesn't talk? No. And if anybody, if Jamie Lee Curtis comes in the ring, he might turn back into a killer.
So we and my wife went and seen Nope on Tuesday. And my wife is such a horror fan. So if you ever need horror coming from the movie guy, if you ever need horror ideas, talk to that lady, my wife.
Yeah.
And so she goes, so we're watching the trailers, and the new trailer for the Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills or whatever the new one is.
I like that one.
Well, there's one coming in October.
Yep, the third one.
The third and final.
David Gordon Green. He made like a Halloween trilogy in what, 3 years?
Yeah, boom.
He's like, hey, Cameron, guess what I'm doing?
So
hitting the speed button.
Yeah. So we're sitting there and the trailer comes on, and my wife knows all the words for the trailer already. I'm like,
really?
I'm like,
well, they had a great trailer.
I looked at her. I'm like, are you excited about this movie? And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, you know all the words already. And she goes, yeah. I'm like, didn't the trailer just come out Friday? And she's like, yeah. I went, okay. So yeah, she knew all the words to the trailer already, all the lines. She's like, oh, I'm like, unbelievable woman. She's so excited for that movie.
Yeah. Oh man.
So let's talk Soto.
Yeah. So Juan Soto. Juan Soto is.
What do you think? All right, let's put the percentage. So the rumors are Juan Soto is coming to the St. Louis Cardinals. Are the Cardinals are?
I'm just sitting here hoping nobody from Salt and Smoke's watching this live. Hey.
No, there's only 2 people watching. Oh, James watching. What's up,
there
nerd?
You go. There you go. Yeah, we'll post this later.
So, it's live. It's already up.
It's up.
So they can watch it now. So
they can watch it now. Hey, you know what? Just preparing me mentally.
That's fine.
But and this is Kool-Aid, by the way.
Yeah,
that's right.
So what do you think the percentage of Soto? The rumors are Soto's come from the National, 23 years old, super phenom, coming to the Cardinals. They're talking about him coming to the Cardinals. What do you think the percentage is right now?
I think the percentage used to be in my mind like 20 a couple of weeks ago. And then all of a sudden, when the main outlets are discussing it, that's when you're kind of like, oh, okay. So, now this is really a thing. And so I think it's gone to like 40, 45%. I still don't want to go over the 50% mark because I just think that somebody's going to swoop in with a better offer. Maybe somebody swoops in with a better prospect. Maybe the Cardinals don't want to part with Jordan Walker and a Mason Wynn and a Matthew Liberatore and Dylan Carlson, or is it going to be Nolan Gorman?
So what I seen 4 people. That the 4 people I've seen 4 different names, but the most way I've seen is I've seen one time it was Walker, Wynn, Liberatore, and Gorman going to the Nationals.
Sure.
Just for Soto and I think Corbin or something like that. I think that Corbin's part of the package.
Yeah,
now.
Corbin. For me, I don't want that name, man, because he's one of the worst pitchers in baseball.
Yeah,
and so
I don't want that deal either.
I will give them Zach Thompson, even if that was a sweetener, or if they want a Tink Hence, who is kind of ripping up in the minor leagues.
Here's the one I don't want to part with.
And Gordon, I want to say this last name. I love this guy, Gordon Graceffo. And by the Italian guy, me going, Gordon Graceffo.
Out of those, I don't want to part with Mason Wynn.
Yeah, Mason Wynn, because he's got that cannon for an arm. And nobody's ready to take over shortstop. Paul DeJong has been in the minors now.
You haven't had a shortstop in St. Louis,
since
for longer than 4 seasons. Since
Renteria. Yeah, David Eckstein.
And you haven't had basically a homegrown shortstop since Ozzie. And I
think Eckstein. Eckstein and Renteria to me are in that same category. I know Renteria had more time here.
I think he had 4 years. I think
crazy that Eckstein wasn't here for
3. Was he here for 3?
I want to say 3.
If my mouse wasn't dying and I needed batteries, I'd check it out. I think he was here for 3. So, but you really haven't had a shortstop.
No, I mean,
and you haven't never had a homegrown shortstop here.
Well, let's kind of go. Let's put it this way. Paul DeJong was signed to a contract prematurely, and I want to say that he's been in the minors for a while, working on. He's not injured. He's playing with the Memphis Redbirds. He is just playing because,
and he's not doing.
He's doing good down there, but there's no reason to think that, he comes up here, he gives the Cardinals more home runs, which can be very valuable. And Mundo Sosa's not doing much, but Tommy Edman bat is starting to come back. He went into that usual Tommy Edman June, July kind of, but now he's coming back a little bit. So, but you need somebody, maybe Paul DeJong's like the every other day guy to just if he has good success against a pitcher, give you a good chance at a home run.
I think Mason Wynn has a chance to being special. And so I think Jordan Walker as well. But the problem is Soto.
It's prospect.
It's
the kind of thing where it's still
prospect.
Could.
It still could.
I wrote about this thing. Unfortunately, I poured 1,400 words into this stupid topic. And I just thought Jordan Walker could pan out, or he could just be a nobody. Mason Wynn could become a little bit better than Pete Cosmo, but not an everyday regular producer. That's really all you want these players to be. You don't need them to be Juan Soto. You just need them to be like Dylan Carlson, who I think is just being very productive now. But I think with Juan Soto, if you're going to give up something like that, you have to already think he's not going to sign an extension upon getting here. Scott Boras is his client. Scott Boras would not let him do that unless Juan Soto was crazy and fired Scott Boras, which he's not going to do before his first big contract. So he turned down 14 or 15 years, $440 million.
455 at 15 years. It would have been only an average salary of like 20-something million. It was something goofy.
I think the Nationals have to really renegotiate how they offer contracts because they scared off Bryce Harper. He also rejected a $300 million plus offer from the Nationals. And then Scherzer, of course, has now gone to the Mets. But they need to renegotiate. I don't think Soto wants to sign something that only bad NHL goaltenders have tried to sign, even good ones. 12 to 15-year deals. You're kidding me. Just go with like a 5 or 6 year deal, or give Juan Soto a really good 7-year deal. He's still very young. And so the Cardinals, if they trade for him, they have a good chance of re-signing him. I'm not worried about that, because you have to think of when they didn't. Jason Hayward just chose the Cubs. Hayward did not want to be the guy.
Yeah.
And that's what Wainwright said, and I believe it. Yeah. He just wanted to be one guy on the team. And Wainwright was not being mean. He was just saying, okay, bro, that's you. I'm a leader. Yeah. Wainwright will be a leader until they put that guy in the ground. Even when he's retired, he's just going to be a leader. If the world ends, I'm going to find out where Adam Wainwright lives. Okay,
yeah, following that guy.
Well, why? Because
him and Ryan O'Reilly.
I checks his notes. There's nothing there. He's just awesome. I'm going to file him. But if you look back at that, Juan Soto is a generational talent. And I think there's two things to learn in this sweepstakes before I let you talk. And I just need to shut up.
You're good.
But with Soto, you just need to understand that not every prospect should be compared to, they need to be a Soto. You know, Dylan Carlson will probably never be a Soto, but he'll be a productive player. And so, but if you can get a guy like him, man, I think U.S. percentage points, I think we're around 45, maybe 50%, because they're still talking about it. And according to some, the Cardinals have a good offer, but it went from being about Dylan Carlson to Nolan Gorman being that one player who's already playing. So I don't know, but I can't imagine a package where I turn it down.
If there's a way to keep Walker and win in this package, and it's okay with Dylan Carlson or whatever going the other way, I think you're going to be okay, but I mean, you have to understand this is a 23-year-old kid that's a generational talent that are you, what are you going to give up? And is he going to, here's the problem is he's a free agent in 2 years?
He essentially,
and so at 24, so at 25 he turns, or 24 he turns.
So essentially he's going to be 24 this year, and he's got this season and 2 more seasons. He's, I think, in 2025 he is a free agent. And so I think in that time, Mozeliak and Gersh and DeWitt could get the job done. I mean, yes, Giancarlo Stanton said no. I mean, that they were willing to trade for Giancarlo Stanton, and he chose New York. Good for him.
So 24.
And now he's the 3rd best player in that team. But, so with, Juan Soto, if you get him, you're finishing. John, I said something early in the year. I said, I want the Cardinals to finish the painting. I want them to finish.
We talked the last time about this.
And I said, if you get Juan Soto, I'm
still bitching about no pitching.
I know. Well, they have to get a pitcher. I think they should get Juan Soto and Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard would just shore up the rotation. He's an innings guy, and he's quality innings. And I think he's still got something to give, especially in front of a great defense, especially at Busch Stadium, which swallows up fly balls.
Yep.
Even in the hot, thin air of August.
If you can get Syndergaard and you get Soto, the Cardinals are
they are right there with the Dodgers.
You're right there
and
with
the Braves.
Dodgers.
You're like, hey guys, guess what? How you doing? They're like Maverick. They just come flying in.
They just,
hey guys, by the way, you're not going to win shit.
Oh, did you guys forget about the city next on the bank of the Mississippi?
Yeah, remember 2006 and wait for it, 2011, almost 2013. David Ortiz, you suck.
Oh,
you one man.
I don't want to talk about Ortiz.
Destroying machine.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, and I'll stick by that.
I don't know. I think he is just because of what he did in the playoffs.
No,
but for me, I mean, getting back to Soto, you get him, you're a legit contender. And even if you don't win the World Series, let's say you just get into the pennant and you lose in the pennant to the Dodgers in 7 games. That's a heck of a run from what they look like right now. They look like
the average team.
They look like cold pizza, and I'm not talking about the good kind. The kind you're like
you're the 12th. You're the 12th best team, and you don't, and you look like the 16th. If you ask me. Before
yesterday's game, which they won, they are hanging on for they were tied for the 3rd wild card with the Phillies. Yeah. I mean, they're just, and the Phillies have Harper, so it isn't like the Cardinals are alone. We have a superstar. The Cardinals have Arenado and Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt is hitting at like 2009 Pujols levels. He is just insane.
He's right now going to be your MVP.
Yeah,
There's no
he's
shot
an
of doubt.
MVP. So he's going to come back and he gets to play. And guess who they're playing this weekend?
The
John?
Nationals.
Mr. Soto.
So
what would it be great if he just came out of the dugout with a Cardinal uniform
just
on?
switch dugouts,
and every Cardinal fan just passes out.
That's when I think it might happen. It very
could happen.
It very well could happen.
Guess who's going to be in the building? The GMs.
Yeah, so the GMs are there talking.
The Cardinals are going.
So is it a 4-game set or a 3-game set?
I want to say maybe it's a 3-game set because I know they got the second with the Cubs. Isn't the second a Monday? This is Monday. The second's a Tuesday.
Second's Tuesday.
But they could be traveling back. I think it's a 3-game series with the Nationals in which the Soto could be coming back home to face the Cubs with a returning Yadier Molina on Tuesday.
So it's a 3-game set against the kid, or it's 29-30. Yeah, so it's a 3-game set.
Cardinals were
but
barely
today.
The Cardinals are off today. They had an excellent Adam Wainwright start last night. Albert Pujols swinging like it was again. I just mentioned 2009 Albert. That was 2009 Albert.
He looked good last night. He looked great.
Artistry, man. So you go from Soto. If you get him, great. And I don't think there's a package deal to kind of get ready to pivot away from this. There isn't a package deal. That was a very soft burp, by the way. I'm just going to point it out.
Go ahead.
But you got to think I kept going. I've gotten better at that.
Look at you.
That's just good. Look at me, Juan Soto. You may be so good at baseball that you can smile like the Joker and still have a 950 OPS, but I just swallowed a burp. I did what Bill Burr said. I pushed it down. Did some man stuff. I have
his
answers.
New special on Netflix is fantastic.
It is. And I need to watch it again because the first time through what Bill Burr said is like, first time on a highway. You just got to go slower next time.
I was in my bed by myself at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, crying laughing at his new special.
Yeah.
I can't wait for October. I got tickets to go see
Tom
Segura. Can't wait.
I told my dad we are going to road trip it this year. We're scheduling a Denver, Colorado, which everybody watching this podcast can just go,
yep.
We know
why.
Next summer, my dad and I want to rent an RV and just drive to Denver. And this year I said, this is what we do this year. We check down like Mark Bolger towards the end of his career, check down and go to see Bill Burr in like Illinois. He's coming to Peoria. Yeah. He's coming to a couple other spots around St. Louis. He's not coming to St. Louis. We missed that because at the Fox because I'm an idiot. But
I couldn't afford it.
Can the Cardinals afford Juan Soto? Oh, look at that
good transition
segue. But no, see, here's the thing. I think if they trade for him, they resign.
So you think what's that contract look like? $500 million?
I think it's going to be a 10-year deal, and I think that's going to be it. 10-year deal. Because by that time, you got to think.
I almost fell on my chair. $50 million on one person.
Okay, so no. So this is the thing. I got to rethink that because he's got 2 more years left.
He's got,
and then he's going to be 26, 27-ish. So I would
23,
say
he'll be 20.
What if the Cardinals overpaid him for a 7-year deal with maybe an 8th-year option? So if you're still going strong, we'll give you $30 million. Then if you were still going strong, but you have to hit a certain a numbers primer. I wish they would do that, but I have a feeling that if he did leave, it would be because he wants to give more years than the Cardinals want to give because they've been doomed with long contracts. So, yeah, I think from where he is now.
So you're looking at 10 years, 10, 15 years. He's 23.
24 to 30, but he's 34. He's still going to be so good.
So you figure.
Because he'll move to first base.
Yeah, he'll move.
He'll move to first base 6, 7 years into that, or 5 years into that contract. He'll come off of the outfield. He'll move in, not third base. He'll move to first base. You got a left-handed first baseman. And I'm sure he can play first base if you start training him over his career. Or he keeps playing in the outfield, or he plays DH. Yeah. Or he's a DH first baseman outfielder. You got 3 places.
See, you figure it's going to be 15 years. I'll say 15 years.
See, I think that's a long. See that's what I'm kind of with you. I'm not sure I want to give him that ultra long contract.
I think it's how about
overpay
13?
for 7.
What about 13 with a player option for a 14th and then a club option for a 15th?
Maybe. See, for me, I made you go up at 10 and you're going at 14, 15.
I'm just telling you. I know what it's going to be because I just thought.
See, I think that's the reason that he didn't sign the contract. I don't think he wanted that all those years with one place.
I think it's going to be 13. I bet it's 13 years. Here, I bet that contract's 13 years. Player option for a 14th, club option for a 15th.
Yeah, I mean, I think with him, if the Cardinals are good, they get him for like 7 or 8. Give an 8-year deal.
Listen, it's bright. I'm trying to pick him. The best contract to compare it to is Harper's. Harper at 13, $300 million.
That could be it then.
So I bet it's $400 million.
Because you got to think, if they sign them, let's say they just go, well, what if? Well, here's another thing, John. Sure. What if they get him and they tear up those final 2 years, or or like you said, they just sign them
for 15?
And what if they give them the like you said, give them the 14 years, or the 13 with a 14-year and a 15-year option, like you said, or would you say a 14 and a 15?
I say a player option for a 14th, club option for a 15th.
There you go. And I think with him, he would still only be around and that'd be his late 30s.
He'll be in his late 30s. Then he can go DH somewhere for 2 years.
And that's another thing. You got to think he may finish his career somewhere else. It doesn't mean the guy's going to retire a Cardinal. We've seen how hard that is.
But yeah, so
Yachty's going to do it.
Yachty's going to do it.
Waino may. I mean, I think the Cardinals, they can't let him go away. But what if they're trying to sign that?
You can't. Waino's
you can't let him go. You can't let him go. But there's also a part of me that thinks Wainwright may. Do you think he's going to come back next year for sure? I still think it's 70-30. Yes.
If he doesn't get to 200 wins this year, he comes back.
He comes back. And do you think Pools comes back next year somewhere else?
Done. Albert's done. Yachty's done. Yachty's already.
I think Yachty is indeed done, but I still think Albert. Part of him will say if he doesn't hit 700 home runs,
that's the thing too. If they might get,
but he'll go somewhere else.
No, I think he'll. If the Cardinals,
they can't do that again.
You don't think so?
No, because next year it has to become Oliver Marmol's team.
It won't. The Cardinals won't let Albert hit 700.
That's an interesting thing, though. I mean, part of me maybe thinks he just calls it, though.
He said at the beginning of the season.
What if he goes on a run?
He said he's done.
He's 14 away, right?
He's 14 away.
What if he goes on a run and gets to like 699? Yeah. So, next year he hits the 700, he retires.
Yeah. So if Albert already said at the beginning of the year he's done this after the season.
Yeah, but they never mean that. Yachty said that he said he was done once.
Yachty, but Yachty, you can already tell after this.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, Yachty said that, and I think if the Cardinals said here, what if there's a deal where they say you hit 700 and you call it, and Albert will go, yes.
It depends if he's like 1 or 2 away.
Oh, that's what I mean. If he's 1 or 2 away, bring him back and let him hit it, and then he spends the rest of the year as a player coach.
Yeah.
He's in the dugout.
Yeah.
That's where he wants to be.
Assistant hitting coach.
Yeah. He's got a home here in St. Louis. So that could be something that happens too. But let's swing this over. So Soto may or may not happen. I don't think there's going to be.
If Soto does happen,
I don't think there's a package where you can say no. I think here's a package. I'm just going to throw it out right now. This is from what I've heard, a bunch of different trade packages. I'm going to put them all together. I'm going to say Jordan Walker. So and then we have to go Dylan Carlson. That's a viable everyday player right now. And then you have to throw in either a Graceffo or a Tink Hence. And then you got to throw in Mason Wynn. And I'm fine with that. Because then you got to think he's on the verge, Walker's on the verge, and then you throw in a Graceffo. Not a McClevey. I mean, I know there's a McGreevy. I know there's a guy with that name who's been in some of the rumored packages, but I would say that's what's going to be needed to get it done. I don't think it's as huge as some people say. It's not going to take 6 of your top 10 prospects. That's so stupid. I mean, this is not like Kachuk. The Flames got a great package of players from the Florida Panthers. They got a 115-point guy. They got a first-line defenseman.
There was no way the Blues were matching that package.
I mean, how they do it?
There was no way.
You have to give them
Justin Falk,
Thomas.
You were giving up Thomas. You were giving up a Tarasenko.
Kyrou, Falk, and Tarasenko.
That's who you basically gave up.
And then maybe another guy. Maybe hey, Perunovich. How about that guy? You're like, whoa. So I think, and to segue into that, man, Blues fans,
but
you don't give up on this team. Yes, they lost Perron. They did not get Kachuk. So all they need to do is fill Perron's production. They did get Nick Leddy. I know he's not Perron, he's not Kachuk,
you needed to shore up your defense. That's what Leddy did that.
When you took him away in that Colorado series, the whole team took a bigger hit, or just almost as much of a hit as Bennington, because their defense was screwed.
Yeah. So
you had to get him.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you how you beat Colorado. And if my wife is listening, she might fucking yell at me on this one.
Oh, really?
She's a huge Blues fan. As soon as
the Blues are not dead by any.
No, the Blues aren't dead. An Army we trust. Okay,
and there's still time.
There's still time, ladies and gentlemen.
It's July 28th.
Yeah, We still have plenty of time. So relax. R-E, in the words of Aaron Rodgers, Yeah. Relax. Anyways,
just for me, this is the thing. You just need to replace Perron's production.
Gets it. And with Colorado, and you need to shore up your defense. Letty kind of did that. Krug is going to be with Krug being injured. Okay, to beat Colorado, you needed either Krug or you needed Bennington. You didn't, or you needed both.
I almost think that Krug may be traded.
I know he's not happy here. There's rumors he's
not happy, and I just don't think he's. This is what I'm going to say, and this is going to be all the hockey experts. Well, give me a statistic. I don't think he looks right with this team.
I think I like Krug. He's great. I love his play. He's a great player. I hear he's not happy at the city. I guess because the city hasn't adopted him. I guess the way he thought it would have.
Maybe not. Or it could be other things. It could just be the fact that.
But they did move.
How are they shaping the defense?
Yeah, they are. They did move here in COVID.
They did. And so maybe
we're getting there, ladies.
Maybe the whole thing is this. Maybe if they trade him while he has value right now, healthy, he's a viable. Even a first-line defenseman on a lot of teams where he could take those 26 minutes and give you a plus 15 and give you some goals and quarterback your power play. Yeah. But here's the thing. You have a lot of people that I want Justin Falk to quarterback the power play. I think he is fantastic at this thing, keeping the puck in the zone. That puck goes by him. His body suctions its ass to those boards. It was... Got that, buddy. I'm a Jonas brother, and I'm Ben Stiller and a hockey player. Watch out. And the thing is, he's got a shot. Yeah. And he doesn't just dump the puck into the fucking zone like a schmoke. Take it in there.
He does. And I like the way he works. Yeah,
so you have Torrey Krug, who is also a quarterback of a power play. Maybe there's a struggle there. Maybe Berube's like, let's do the Berube. Torrey, it's kind of Justin's he sounds like a beefier, but maybe more mellowed out Mozeliak. This is Mozeliak. Hey, John. So at the end of the day,
cannot listen. I'm going to say this right now. John Mozeliak drives me up the fucking wall.
California because here's why
he can't beat because here's why. I'm going to say it. The Cardinals drive me up the wall sometimes. You know why? Because they have the personality of the GM, and the GM's personality is about as much as that fucking wall sometimes. If it wasn't for Arenado telling people to go get fucked sometimes, or Yachty piping off,
I want to ask this.
Holy shit.
I want to ask this.
Fuck! It drives me up the wall on how fucking plain this team seems to be sometimes.
John, does this team get into you, man?
Man, they're boring sometimes. It's just fucking. It's just fucking boring sometimes.
Moment. You're like,
they're boring. To me, sometimes it's fucking home run, walk, or fucking strikeout. They don't hit for the gap, and I get it. Sometimes they're fucking running more. What is the
statistics? The whole thing is Michael Gersh like Bill Hader to Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. I mean, in your analytics and your Jeff Albert philosophy.
Who's Michael Gersh? This is a dude.
He's the paperwork guy.
Can we just admit that guy?
I think somebody said that. I think what is his job? He's the guy that really finalizes stuff.
Michael Gersh,
but it's Mozeliak's team.
Is this a guy in a chair?
He is.
He's just a guy in a chair.
And he's not as good as Ned from the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. That's the guy in the fucking chair.
He is just a guy in a fucking chair. He is a body. I want his job. I can do Michael Gersh's job. Mo sounds great. Mo sounds great.
He's like, this is Michael. So really, to go back to to old Dougie, man. I think there's a lot of time left, and I think a Krug trade. I think here's the guys that aren't going to leave: Thomas and Kyrou. I think Kyrou was the reason that Doug, part of a package, he said, nah. I mean, maybe not, but I think Ryan O'Reilly is safe. I think Thomas is safe. He just got signed. I think Shen, he just got signed to a recent deal. Parenko, I wish he'd be traded, but he's kind of safe too. He's got an 8-year deal.
Yeah, Parenko, Falk. I think Parenko, Falk, Thomas, Kyrou.
Barbashev's not really.
O'Reilly.
Barbashev. Barbashev's not really safe either, though.
And Shen, Kyrou and Thomas are all safe.
Let's go down to the lower lines. Look at what Ivan Barbashev's doing as a Blue. 20-plus goals, grittier than any guy on that ice. He's John Favreau from the Replacements, man. He's Danny. He has to go just destroy people. And then he scores 2 goals.
Yeah.
He's John Hamm's favorite player.
He's one of mine too. He really is. He's
Barbie.
Barbie's the best.
Hey, guess what, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling?
We have Barbie.
We got a Barbie, and guess what? He's hotter than you.
He's better than you.
And we don't have to dye his hair, Ryan. Even though I will say quickly that the Gray Man kicked ass. I've watched it twice. It is the exact kind. A little more. The exact kind of Gosling that I want. The wisecracking, not taking it too seriously. That's exactly what that movie needed. And he was court gentry. He was the perfect court. And the whole thing is, with the Blues, who's going to be their court next season? I think that's an evolving role. I think Thomas could reach up and grab it in a couple of years. O'Reilly still has it. But I think if Thomas plays his cards right, he's the next captain of the Blues.
He'll be an assistant this year, definitely.
He
has an A on that sweater this year.
I think the way they're setting it up, I just think the 8-year deal, the fact that he just has
if O'Reilly doesn't re-sign here in 2 years to finish off his career.
I mean, O'Reilly, I can see O'Reilly going to a contender. Like the one, even facing the Blues, if the Blues didn't want to give him that deal, they probably would maybe trade him to a contender.
Yeah.
Give him to a Capitals or give him to a Lightning. Give him to a. Can you imagine him on the Lightning?
Fuck off.
So, I know, but a couple years down the road.
But
or don't trade him.
Yeah. But
the
if
whole
he doesn't
thing
resign
is,
here. Yeah.
Thomas is kind of ascending, in my opinion, to that Ryan O'Reilly role. The everyman center, the guy who can play a wing.
Yeah.
He can score. We saw what he did. Look, Pat Maroon shoved that puck in. But Robert Thomas charged Ben Bishop.
It went off the pipe. It went off the pipe.
He shot off the pipe, but then he drove the body, finished the play, and then here comes Maroon just finishing the work. What a duo! But I haven't given up on Tom. I think Thomas had a great year.
Hold on,
I think he's going to do it again.
Back to that video that Pat Ryan. If you go back and watch that.
I wouldn't know who
Pat Maroon. All right, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's Game 7 against the Stars in round 2 where we went in overtime, double overtime.
We beat the Sharks before.
Pat Maroon scored that goal. Whoever the guy was in the stand with a 12-ounce Bud Light can, I want to know how you stuck that in there, sir, because there's no way they were serving beer at that time in that game.
That's awesome. He probably stuck it in.
There's a dude cheering, and there's a guy with a 12-ounce Bud out. I went,
he probably.
Hey, wait. I felt like Leo in fucking Once Upon a Time. Hey, right?
That's me. He probably brought it in as an overtime bud, just in case.
Literally.
But that's the thing. Don't forget that you have a lot of great players. You just need to replace Perron's production. You need to replace that great slap shot in the power play. You have to either replace him or get another good D-man. Go deeper in that area.
I think before the season begins, you'll see Tarasenko in a different sweater, and you'll also see Krug in a different sweater.
I think that's a very big. It could be in the same trade, and it could be for a winger. It could be for a winger, maybe
another defenseman. You need another defenseman.
Or really, with the draft is happening, maybe a couple players. Maybe they give us a D-man. Maybe they give us the same players back. With a different contract flexibility.
That's pretty much, you're looking for salary cap relief right there. That's
because
all it is.
Right now, they're over 125 grand, and it's not a lot, but you're over, which means you have exactly in a flat cap era, you have zippity room, zip.
So it's
to do anything.
It's just going to be
I love Tarasenko, but the way this offseason is played out, I don't think he finishes this next season with the St. Louis Blues.
I think he doesn't even start the season.
Because you can still get something for him coming off his 88 or 87 point.
Yeah, 87 points.
87-point season, and he's got a year left. And I can tell you where he goes. He doesn't even no trade clause. Yeah. He can decide where he goes. Yeah. And
he wants to end up in New York. I think his wife wants to model and be a model. So I think he wants to get to New York. So it's a bigger stage.
I don't think he's going to retire here, Blues fans. No. I think something was fractured. This is what I say, and I'll even use a great line because I got to start wrapping it up as I have to go to work. But
you do.
I know, but this is what we still have an announcement. But I'll say this: it's like I think the Blues burned that bridge with Tarasenko and the shoulder surgery.
I think
something fell apart there, and because I think what he has a viable complaint that this team may have cost him years of his career because we know he wasn't right for 2 or 3 seasons, and then he finally got it back. It was like clickety click, he's back. Because even the season before last, he wasn't the greatest. You're like, come on, man. They're kind of hoping to trade him. Yep. But I'm like you, man. I don't think he finishes a career here. But they quote a great movie line in The International with Clive Owen where he goes, There's bridges you cross and there's bridges you burn. I'm the one you burn. And I think that's Tarasenko telling a loving Blues nation that it's nothing against you. The Blues fans did nothing wrong. They never, they adored a player.
Yeah, I think he'll always be a Blue, but he won't retire here.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the way Pujols was going to be before he came back. I mean, before he came back, he was just going to be. He had his best 11 years here, but now we get to see. And I'll go off with this. This is the final take before our big announcement.
There you go.
And there'll be more. And I think there's going to be more
of these,
John, because this is a good podcast, man.
Thank you.
I like it. I'm easygoing. This is a great studio. This is John from Lost Losers Podcast. He's the host. He is.
Please hit the subscribe button if you're
He's the
watching.
Marshall Falk in '99. He's driving the ball here. But I'll say this: Albert Pujols, from the bottom of my heart, go off these last 2 months.
Yeah, I think that home
There's
run.
a statistic, and I'm going to hit my socials here at STL Sports Desk, and I do a lot of retweeting.
Mm-hmm.
If you noticed, I don't just fucking shout my own mouth off. People get enough of that at Buff82. That's my Film Buffa account. But I put it up there since July 6th, this stat, and I can't forget the name. It's like Cardinals Stats and Daily. They're a great young website. They have 6,800 plus followers. They're awesome. Go to my Twitter. They had a stat him since July 6th. He's insane. 182 are WRC plus. It's just he's insane right now.
Yeah.
And so please, Albert, from the bottom of Cardinals fans' hearts, go off.
Dude, if he
hit 700,
I think him being in that home run derby kind of rejuvenated, and he's just going to be like, these last 3 months of this season are my This is it. Here we go. The Cardinals get Soto. That changes everything. If they don't get Soto, DH Albert Pujols every damn. I'm sorry, Nolan every
Gorman.
Home game.
I love you, and I love Nolan Gorman, but he's 23. He's young.
Yeah.
If Albert Pujols is hitting like this, do not fucking sit the machine.
Every home game that he says he wants to play, he should play.
Guess what's coming soon, folks? I can't tell you when because I'm just a procrastinist, and John knows it. He's becoming one of my good friends. In this chaotic world, you need as many good allies as you can, as many good friends, and I think he's becoming that. But he has inspired me to start my own YouTube channel called In the Buff, because I get to describe and break down anything I want. It's not the Film Buffa. It's not STL Sports Desk. It's just going to be me talking like this, 100% STL stuff, movies, TV shows, maybe just enjoying cannabis. Coming soon, folks.
So
thanks to John for the bump.
No problem, buddy. So be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you all. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, share with